Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we are going to discuss about advanced XPaths. Let me share the screen. Okay, advanced XPaths. So far in Locators lab, we have seen XPath, right? How to inspect a XPath. Let me show you how to inspect an XPath, and then let's get carried forward from then. Okay, open source. Okay, Orange HRM. I'm logging into Orange HRM. I'm inspecting this particular web element, which is username. Okay, right click, inspect. Once you inspect this particular web element, you are getting the web element object references, right? Object properties. Okay, here you have to go ahead and right click, copy and copy XPath. If you do this, okay, you are getting the XPath copied, right? Now, in this lab, we will be knowing how to write the XPath instead of going ahead and copying and pasting it. Okay. Now, this is the XPath that we have received. This is the XPath that we have received, right? So XPath, this is called relative XPath that we have copied and pasted right now. This is called relative XPath. I will tell you the difference between relative and absolute XPath. Okay. Now there is another XPath called absolute XPath. What is absolute XPath means? You have inspected this particular web element, and upon inspecting, you got this object reference value, right? Object properties. Now, if you go ahead, right click, copy and copy full XPath. If you do a copy full XPath, that means that is an absolute XPath. This is absolute XPath. When you do a copy full XPath, that is called absolute XPath. When you do just right click and copy XPath, that is called relative XPath. Now I will tell you that nobody in real time uses this absolute XPath. Reason being is, if you see this absolute XPath, it is traversing from HTML to input is the current node. Okay, so HTML is the root node. Ante enti anante, from this particular from the starting of the code to the current code, whichever web element you are inspecting, to that particular code, it is copying the complete thing. Okay, so that is the reason why, that is one reason. Okay, the second reason is, in case if developer changes the XPath, changes the code in between. Okay, there are quite some time that developer team keeps on changing the code. Okay, so if the developer is keeping on changing the code, can everybody go on mute, please? Okay, if the developer is changing the code any point of time, then today I've copied this particular XPath and today it's running fine. Tomorrow, if I see there is a XPath changed, the absolute XPath changed, this div2 got deleted from the complete node, absolute XPath. So if I'm running the program again, then my this thing will, program execution will fail, right? So that's the other thing that that we are not using the absolute XPath. Now I will tell you how it is traversing. See, can you see HTML? Can you see HTML? It is traveling from HTML, from this particular root node to the current node, which is this. Okay, this is the web element I inspected for. Until this, it is taking all the code in between. Okay, from here till here, it is taking the code. However, when you do a absolute XPath, for absolute XPath, మీరు ఇదే తీసుకుంటున్నారు, ఈ దీనిదే తీసుకుంటున్నారు. You're not taking every single, code in between. Okay, clear enough? Difference between absolute and relative XPath. We usually go ahead and do take the relative XPaths itself. We are working on relative XPath itself. We are not taking the absolute XPath in our real time. Okay. Now I will tell you the program execution. Can everybody go on mute, please? Okay. This is absolute XPath lab. Okay. Here what we are doing is we are launching the web browser, which is Open Chrome, Open Orange HRM, open source Orange HRM, and we have copied the complete XPath for username, password, and button login. Okay. We have taken the value as send keys and admin. Send keys, admin 1, 2, 3. So find element by dot XPath. For absolute XPath also, we will be writing it as XPath. And we will be copying the complete XPath, the full XPath. Okay. And we will be giving the send key operations. If we are entering some value in the web element, we will be using send key operation and we will be giving the value that needs to be input. If I go ahead and execute this program, absolute XPath also works. Okay. Now I will tell you one more thing. If I'm going ahead and deleting this thing in between, okay, I just deleted div3 in between and I'm running the program. Okay, my program execution failed, right? One failure. Now here it says that no such any element unable to locate method XPath, which is this complete XPath. E XPath lo error undi అని చెప్తున్నారు. How do you validate that ఇక్కడ div3 అని తీసేశారు అని చెప్పేసి? How do you know that? You will not be knowing it, right? Until and unless you go ahead and copy the complete XPath again, you will not be knowing it. Okay, so that is the reason why people do not use this absolute XPath. Okay, let me put this back. Now by taking a relative XPath, this is the XPath for username, this is the XPath for password, and this is the XPath for button login, right? So the same thing we have taken and we have just executed the program here. Since we have not given any value to input, so that's the reason why it did not input the admin password values. Okay. Now, how to write? So far we have seen how to copy the XPath and relative XPath and absolute XPath. Now, how do you write the XPath? In order to write an XPath, you will have to first know the object property values. Okay, object properties. Now, what are object properties? For a web element, if you go ahead and inspect, okay, again inspect. For a web element, if you go ahead and copy element, do a copy element, okay? You're right clicking on the web element, okay? Copy and copy copy element, okay? If you do so, you will be getting this thing, right? Now, name is equal to in txt username is one object property. ID is equal to txt username is another object property. Type is equal to text is another object property. These are also called attributes. Okay. Now this is one attribute, this is one attribute, this is one attribute. If you know the, for a particular web element, if you know the object property values, you can write the XPath. How? In order to write an XPath, you will have to first start with double slash. Okay, double slash. And if you know the tag name means input is a tag name, div is a tag name. Okay, span is another tag name. I don't think so, it's here. Okay, span is another tag name. Likewise, these are called tag names. Okay, if you know your current web elements tag name, okay, then you can go ahead and input that particular tag name and start your square brackets. Okay, give some space and your square brackets. Now in between these, this gap, you will have to write the one of the object property value. Okay, now what you can do is you can either take name is equal to txt username, id is equal to txt username, type is equal to text. You can take either of them. Okay, now in this scenario I am taking name is equal to txt username. Okay, and what you have to do is you have to start with @ name is equal to txt username is the password for username. Sorry, is the XPath for username. Okay, this is how you will write it manually. If I go ahead and control F, okay, control V, I'm able to find 1 of 1. That means it is identifying the XPath that we have written now, right? It is identifying the XPath that we have written just now. This is the object property from where we have taken the XPath for. Okay, so that is how you will be able to write an XPath. Now, for example, you do not know the tag name. Input is the tag name, right? You do not have the tag name here. You just have the object property values. Okay, for example, in such scenarios, how will you write an XPath means you will start with double slash, put a star. Okay, because you do not know the tag name, you will put a star and start with square brackets, and you can write the object property value inside @ id is equal to txt username. If I search with this also, I will get my object property value. Can you see 1 of 1? 1 of 1 here. Clear enough until this? Any questions? Any questions? Any concerns?
Yeah, Arun, I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have written this XPath in the notepad, right?
Yes.
So can we execute the same thing in the
In the
Selenium
program?
program where we write?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will show you. 1 second. Relative XPath, right? We are doing relative XPath, right? This is the XPath. That's the same XPath that is there here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm giving send keys I'll give. Okay. Send keys of admin. Okay. Dot. No, SS lowercase only. Okay. If I execute this,
Yeah.
Did it take the value? Admin?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, this is how you will be writing the XPath. If you want to write the XPath with this input, then also you can do this. Instead of that, okay, tag name
Can
as
we use
input.
any of the attribute, madam? Not we can use either name or ID or text. Any we can use any of the attribute. Huh?
Yes, we can use any of the attributes.
And how will you get that input? We have to click on the web element and copy element.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you
For
repeat
the
once?
absolute,
We missed this last 5 minutes.
You want me to repeat it once again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 1 second. No? Now, do you want me to repeat it from the beginning, or
No,
what
no,
do you
how
want
to
me to?
write the XPath?
How to write an
absolute
XPath? Okay.
Yes.
For example, this is 1 second. Huh? I am going ahead and inspecting this particular web element. Okay. I want the XPath for this particular web element, which is username. Okay. Now I got the object properties here. How do you copy the object properties? You will have to right click and click on copy element. If you do that, you will get the object properties as this, right?
Yes.
Move
Yeah.
this off. Okay. This is the object property. This is name is equal to txt username is one object property. This is one and this is one. Okay. Now with the help of the object properties, you can go ahead and write an XPath. Now how you are writing it, if you know the tag name, okay, tag name is input for us. Okay. I am putting that particular word as input. I'm opening the brackets, square brackets, and within this square brackets, I will be taking this value, okay, attribute, any of the object property value. Okay, this is the XPath with the help of name is equal to txt username object property. Okay, I'm writing another XPath as id is equal to txt username. You can write either this or that. Clear enough? If you do not know the object property, you can just put it as star. Sorry, if you do not know the tag name, you can just put it as star. Clear enough until this?
Yes.
Now that you know the know how to write the XPath, I'm going to tell you that if you have any of for a particular web element, for example, you have the same object property, okay, for a particular web element. For example, here we have something called login, right? So just in case on this particular web page itself, if you have a reset button also, okay, in those scenarios, how do you identify? Uniquely, it should be identifying, right? So for example, it has the same object properties. I will tell you how. Copy element. Okay, I said I have one object web element as login, and I'm saying it as another as reset. Now, if you see that the developer has developed the code in such a way that every single object property is same apart from value is equal to login and value is equal to reset. There are quite some chances that developer develops the code in such a way. Okay. In that scenario, how do you differentiate? Okay. If you have to go on to this particular login button itself, then how will you go? Okay. What you can do is with the help of and, okay, I'm opening the bracket, at the rate, I am taking the value as class is equal to button. Okay, class is equal to button is one object property that I have taken. I'm inputting and in between, and I'm saying it as value is equal to login, because I want the web element to be found out uniquely. Okay, if I just give this particular X path, it will find out the web element with a in a unique way. Okay, because it will differentiate between, it will take the difference between this and this. Clear enough? And operator, if you have multiple object properties with the same input values, okay, then you can use the AND operator, and with the help of the value that is different from each other, that ఆ వాల్యూ ఇంకా కామన్ వాల్యూ తీసుకొని మీరు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. క్లియర్ ఇనఫ్? ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్స్?
Yeah, Aruna, here you have taken accurate class. Okay. So in the earlier previous one, we have taken name
and ID
and text and ID.
Mm.
So in the real time, how we need to understand means what exactly we need to take here, because we have different web elements, right?
Okay,
Name,
for there is a question from online people that in this scenario, I have taken the XPath as object properties as name is equal to txt username, ID is equal to txt username. And this I have taken class is equal to button, value is equal to login. So the question is, how do you identify in real time? Okay, the answer is, depending on the object properties that you are receiving, you will have to write the XPath. Depending on the object properties. Now, in locators session, as we have discussed, that it is not necessary that each and every web element will have the same kind of locators like name, ID, text, XPath, CSS selector. It is not that. Few of the web element might have only the tag name as the anchor tag as the locator. Okay, so that means that depending on the object property, you are writing a particular XPath. Okay, depending on the object property itself, you will be writing the XPath. Now in this particular thing, when I copied the web element, when I copied the element, I got type is equal to submit, name is equal to submit, class is equal to button, ID is equal to btn login. Now I can take any of them. Okay, I can take any of them, but which is different from here and here is value is equal to login and value is equal to reset are the two things that are differing. Other each and every single object property is same for both of them, right? So in order to differentiate, I am taking one common thing that is there in both the web elements. With the help of AND operator, I am taking the uncommon thing to go on to that element. Okay, if I want to go on to reset value is equal to reset, then I can write the XPath as star if I do not know the tag name. Okay, and I can take any of the object properties from here, at the rate and at the rate value is equal to reset. Simple. If I go ahead and find, I am finding out the value uniquely. Okay, now that I do not have any reset button as such, it is only to explain you if you have any such web elements in your web page, you can do this. Now there is something called OR operator also, but it is not useful enough, because OR means it will either find out this value. If I'm giving a OR operator here, okay, it will either find out with this with the help of this class is equal to button, or value is equal to login. So that means that clearly ఇదైనా ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ఈ దీంతోనైనా ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది ఈ దీంతోనైనా ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది. సో దానికి అర్థం లేదు కదా. How does it make a difference? Right? So in order to find out a particular web element uniquely, in order to write the XPath, you can go ahead and use the AND operator value. Okay. Usually aithe OR operator nobody uses it in real time. Okay. Clear enough? Any questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Ma'am, how to copy this normal XPath from inspecting the web element?
How to copy a normal XPath?
Yes, not absolute.
Okay. You have to right click on a particular web element, inspect, right click on the web element that you have received here, copy and copy XPath. This is relative XPath. If you want to copy the full XPath, then you will have to do the complete copy full XPath thing. That will be absolute XPath. Yeah. Copy full
So we can
XPath
use either
ante
of this, right?
you can use either of this, but normally we are not using absolute XPath because it is traversing from the root node to current node. From here, it will copy the complete code and it will come till here.
Okay.
If you see this, HTML nunchi copy chesi input వరకు వెళ్ళింది. ఓకే. సో ఈ మధ్యలో ఏమైనా కోడ్ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ అయ్యింది అని అంటే మన ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది అని మనం అబ్సల్యూట్ XPath ఎప్పుడు యూజ్ చేయము యూజువల్ గా. అర్థమైందా?
Yes.
ఓకే.
Hello, ma'am.
యా.
For absolute XPath, we cannot copy. We have to edit that one, ma'am. On that.
We can copy absolute XPath also. Copy full XPath.
Okay.
This is the absolute XPath. Okay. Now moving further. Okay. Moving further, we have something called text off. Okay. Text off means okay, in locators, what is link text? Why do you use link text? When you will use link text?
If the hyperlink is static.
Exactly. When for a web, any web element whose hyperlink is static, then we will be using link text. Okay. The same way we have something called text off. Okay. Now for a particular web element, if you say that, one second. For a particular web element, if you see that the values are static, okay, it doesn't change, it is stagnant, the values are static, then you can use a link text. Okay. Now the same way for a particular web element, okay, if your hyperlink is static, then you can also use the text off, okay, in order to write an XPath. Now if I say that admin module has a static hyperlink, okay, admin is a hyperlink. How do you know whether it is a hyperlink? When it starts with anchor tag. Yes. So yeah, I got the answer. Thank you so much. Okay. Here, if you can see, the tag name is starting with anchor tag and ending with anchor tag, right? So this is a hyperlink. So that means that this is a link text. Now I am saying that this is a static web element. Okay, this is a static web element. The variables does not change. So that's the reason why what I can do is I can write a XPath. I'm saying it as text of. Okay, I can write a XPath by saying it as, okay, slash, double slash, and I'm saying it as my tag name is starting with anchor tag, right? So I know the tag name, so I'm saying it as A. Okay, I'm opening the brackets, I'm saying it text of, okay, is equal to, I'm entering the value as admin. This is the value of the particular web element. Is that the one? Yes. Okay. If you go ahead and check for a particular web element in this particular page, web page, one second, guys. కరెక్టే కదా నేను రాసింది, నేషనాలిటీస్ తీసుకున్నారు. వన్ సెకండ్. Yeah. Okay. The tag name for admin is, this is a hyperlink. However, the tag name for this particular thing is written as B. So that's the reason why it didn't find out with the help of A. Okay. If I inputted star, it started with the, it showed us the admin ka value XPath. Okay. So likewise, if I'm doing it for recruitment, let's see if the tag name starts with, okay, if I say it as B, if I say it as B, then the tag name, it is finding out admin as the value. Okay. However, it is a hyperlink because it is in between the anchor tags, right? Clear enough? Clear enough? Any questions? Yeah. Now, when will you use the text of means? When the hyperlink is static, then you will be using the text of or partial or link text. Okay. Now, when do you use partial link text? When the hyperlink is not static, it keeps on changing, right? So in the same way, we have something called contains text of. Okay. Contains text of. Now, contains text of means, shall I run this program and show you? By using partial link, link text or XPath for the text of. Okay, program execution got passed. ఇంకా అవ్వలేదా? Yeah. Okay. Now we have something called contains text of. When do you use contains text of? When do you use contains text of? When your hyperlink is not static, then you can use the contains text of or partial link text.
Partial link list.
So for example, you have your Outlook box, okay, inbox. Okay, now you have your Outlook inbox, okay, inbox which contains some number of emails. So inbox of 23, for example, let's say, okay. Today, if you run that particular program by taking text off means you will be taking complete thing, right? Inbox of 23. Okay. So by taking text off, you are saying that you while automating that particular scenario, while executing that particular case, it will look for inbox of 23 itself. Okay. Today it might run successfully because your inbox contains 23 emails only. But tomorrow, my emails, I might read some emails or I might receive a few other emails also. The value might change from 23 to 46, for example. Okay. So when the value is getting changed, then you are using the partial link text. Okay. Usually you by using partial link text, that means inbox, okay, only the inbox, you will be able to locate onto that particular inbox session, and you will be able to read all the emails or whatever program execution you're writing for. Okay. However, if you're saying it as link text and you are writing inbox 23, then the program execution will fail. Okay. So now you know why are we using partial link text. The same way we have something called contains text of also. Okay. Contains text of means whatever text you have taken, okay, from that particular thing